Hello everyone, my name is Mirna, and on behalf of the Mindalia TV team, welcome to Mindalia live streaming, where thousands of people around the world gather daily to see the lectures and interviews organized by Mindalia TV. Today with us, Sten Sorensen, the president and founder of the Healing Exchange Center, is going to be having a healing conversation with Glen Larsen. Glen is a certified aromatherapist through heart and herbs, and he is a certified in biofeedback technician through the Board of Advanced Natural Health Sciences. He has extensive experience in applied kinesiology and natural healing methods. This is going to be good. Before starting with them, we remind you that Mindalia's mission is to share information that can help raise the level of consciousness around the world. And you can help us by subscribing to our channel, leaving us a positive comment down this video, or sharing it with someone that you know that is going to benefit of the content that we're going to be talking here today. Also, while we live stream, there is an active chat. The screen that you're going to be seeing on the bottom of this video is if you're seeing us from a smartphone, or on the side if you're in your computer, and through there you can enter your questions. We also want to remind you that we want you to collaborate with Mindalia with your own valuable content. And for that, you can go to our website. On the top, you're going to find a link that says Collaborate with Mindalia. That link is going to take you to a form that you can fill out, and our technical team will be getting in contact with you. Please remember, you can collaborate with Mindalia in English through Mindalia TV English, but you can also do it in Portuguese through Mindalia Televisão and in Spanish through Mindalia Televisión. Visit our different channels, our different platforms, Facebook pages, Instagram accounts, follow us. And with that, you not only help us reach as much people in the planet as possible, but you also keep yourself updated with the wonderful content that we develop there on a daily basis. We are not going to be delaying this any further. And we're going to start with Sten Sorensen and Glen Larsen. Guys, welcome to Mindalia live streaming. The screen is yours. Sten.
Thank you, Myrna. Really appreciate that nice introduction. And so good, I guess it's afternoon. Good afternoon, Glen.
Hi, Stan. How are you today?
I'm so glad that we have this chance to have a talk over technology. So I know it's been a while since we set this up, and I misplaced my notes. And so I'm cooking up a question right now, and it has to do with what is this about that you are doing as a healer? And I'm kind of curious if you've been doing this for a long time, or is this kind of like a second career or a third career or something like that?
Well, opportunity comes in many packages, and this opportunity came in a package of a chronic ailment for myself. So I was a building contractor and did that for many years. And then I developed a chronic ailment, and I had the firm belief that I could go to my doctor and he would solve the problem. And so after going to a number of doctors and stumping them, I started to branch out and look outside the medical community for a solution. And finally got to the point, was starting to find things that helped me and did not quite solve the problem. And the first thing that really helped me was applied kinesiology, or muscle testing. And so I was able to actually test a food before I ate it, because in those days I would get a migraine headache if I ate the food that was wrong. And so that meant that every food I ate every day, I tested. And then I was testing for my wife, and then I was testing for friends. And then I was studying with this kinesiologist out in Stockton at the time. And I developed more and more skills that way, and eventually was able to really read what was going on inside of people, as well as myself, and help steer them in a direction. Because certain things, if I get in an auto accident, I'm going to the doctor. But you know, if I have a mystery ailment, I might try somebody else because the doctor might not be able to put his finger on it.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is that through your own recovery, through your own getting a know-how of being healthy through kinesiology. How do you say that?
Kinesiology.
Kinesiology and the practices around that, you found that this was pretty good, and that you could possibly help people, not only just healing yourself, but help other people with their healing.
It was really a pleasure, and it started with friends and family members, and and then I developed more skills, and I stumbled into aromatherapy, and so I had a way to find out what was going on with somebody and a way to maybe help them solve that problem. So as the years went on, I kept on adding layer after layer of skills. I added the quantum biofeedback, where I can actually hook somebody up to a computer, and the computer can read the person as well as me, which is good because the computer will catch a little detail. It'll catch an amino acid that's off that I didn't catch. It'll catch little details that I don't catch. And so the nice thing the computer does is that even if I have somebody that's very sick and can't eat very many things at all, I can electronically send in the vitamins or the minerals, or reprogram their liver to perform better. It's really nice to have that as a tool, so that somebody that can't take a vitamin or a mineral can actually get it electronically through the machine.
Wow, I have never heard that term before. Electronically, well, I've heard the concept, but not in such a way. Electronically send in vitamins. I mean, when I get that stuff, I have to go down and buy them and drink them with water and have them before meal or whatever. You're talking about sending in electronic vitamins? I'm kind of like,
yeah. It's energy medicine. Once again, I'm sending in the vibration of that vitamin to that person. So I have a client who can't have salicylates, and salicylates are in plants, and many of the vitamin sources are plants. So this person exists mostly on a meat-only diet, which is almost 100% meat. And so she can't really get vitamins and minerals in normal sources. But electronically, we can send the vibration of that vitamin or mineral, and they can benefit from that and balance their system just using the vibration, just like you would for hands-on healing, or one of the other healing modalities I use is sound healing. And I'll put weighted tuning forks and touch someone with them, and I can change their vibration by putting that into their body. And the machine is just a variation on vibrational healing.
That is amazing. The word quantum, to me, brings up the idea that everything is energy. Everything is energy. Matter is energy. It's just a slowed down, dense form of energy, as I understand it. And I also know that when you want to change matter, most of us have been taught in our living in a 3D reality, we're taught the Newtonian view of the world. And if you want to make a change, you change matter with matter. So in the example of vitamins, my thinking is, if I need a certain vitamin, like vitamin C, let's say, well, I go down and buy a bottle of vitamin C, and that's kind of in the matter form, and swallow it, and then it would have its effect on making a change in my body. That's matter changing matter. Kind of, now when I look at it, it's kind of like the hard way to do something. And what you're talking about is changing matter, which is energy, but changing it from a place of energy, not a place of matter.
And we do this so many times in our lives. So let's say you're watching a TV show, and there's a car chase, and you're leaning a little to the left and a little to the right as they maneuver their way through whatever situation they're in. And you're involved in that. You're in the car chase psychologically. You are participating. Just like if I have a client who uses aromatherapy oil to calm down. A classic one would be lavender. And let's say they're using lavender to calm down and they left their bottle of lavender at home. I just tell them, think of the smell of lavender. And all they have to do is think of that smell of lavender, and that connects them to their healing space that lavender takes them to, and they can heal themselves just with their thoughts.
Now that makes plenty of sense to me. And I'm hoping that our viewing audience is following the same idea. I really am fascinated with that if we just think and imagine something, our brain, which runs our body, can't tell the difference between an imaginary input and one that's actually real, like lavender bottle with actual oil in it. But if you just think lavender bottle with the aroma of lavender, it creates the same image inside of the brain, and then the brain acts as if it's real.
It triggers that sense memory, just like somebody with PTSD would have as a repeated situation where, let's say you were in an auto accident and a car came in from your right-hand side and hit you. The next time a car comes in from the right-hand side and they're slowing and they're stopping, but they're going a little fast, you connect with that as if they're going to come through and hit you. So we're using that same idea.
So once that's triggered, then you go into the fight or flight reaction, and hormones of stress are released, and your body goes through all of the preparation for an actual accident going to happen, even though it hasn't happened yet. And it probably won't.
And these are the things that we do all day long.
Yeah.
Where we upset ourselves, not trying to upset ourselves, but we make our life a little more upsetting by participating in this. And what I'm trying to teach people in my office is that you can do it another way, where you can calm yourself down. And I do it through the machine, I do it through the oils, I do it through the sound healing, where I readjust the vibration of their body. But I'm trying to teach that person to do it themselves. So at 3 a.m, when they're having a panic attack, they can use their own mind to heal themselves. And hopefully, if I'm any kind of healer, I'm doing a good job at that. And maybe not.
Well, that makes a lot. That's very good, because that's actually what people need, a practical way to take it with them and do it themselves. I can't imagine myself carrying around a quantum biofeedback machine and computer. Every time I feel bad, I want to hook myself up and figure out what's wrong. That would just be impractical. But if I learn some, and it leads me to wonder about people and differences in people. And what have you noticed? Are all people kind of similarly receptive, or do some people like take to the aromatherapy, or take to the machine, or take to some of the other strategies that you start with?
It's a good question. So when they come into my office, I don't know what I'm going to do with the person until after I muscle test them. So I might be hooking them up on the machine. I might be doing sound therapy. I might be doing some aromatherapy. I don't know until their body tells me what to do. And then the next step on that is I try to teach them how to muscle test so that they know what to do to keep their body healthy. So I get people that are very delicate health-wise, and their moment-to-moment health depends on making that right food choice. And I try to teach them how to muscle test so that when they eat that meal, that food choice, which might be good in my office, but 24 hours later is not, they can see if that's a good food choice or not. And if they're on a diet of, say, 10 different foods due to whatever crisis their body's in, they can assess which food to take when they need to take it in order to not put their body into crisis another time.
Okay. So muscle testing is a kind of a diagnostic tool that you use, or a feedback in itself.
Uh-huh.
That a person can, yeah, I learned about this from David Hawkins many years ago. He wrote a book called Power versus Force, I believe the name of the book. And in that book, he teaches about muscle testing, and you have to hold your arm out, push up, and push down on it when you're thinking about something or holding a substance or something like that. And I thought that was fascinating at the time, but I didn't know how to do that by myself. You know, I do a lot of stuff by myself, and I know that there's other ways to muscle test, and if you could, I think you could actually demonstrate it right here on the screen.
Okay, let's get it up high enough. So dominant hand, okay, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to hold my right finger like this. Non-dominant hand, I'm going to hold my two fingers together like this, and I'm going to slide the right hand, see if I can get an angle that's good, into the non-dominant hand. All right, and we're testing the muscle. So when I have a very bright person in my office, I say we're testing the body, not the mind. We're testing the body, because they're trying to think this, and this is just the body. So I'm going to go, Glenn can have ice cream for lunch, and it goes weak, which means no, because Glenn can't have ice cream for lunch. You know, Glenn can have broccoli, and I get a strong for yes, you know. And so if you are a chronically ill person, this is perfect. So I can say, is Glenn able to walk around the block right now? And it goes, no. Is it because it's too cold? No. Is it because Glenn's tendons in his feet are not up to that today? Yes. You know, is that because of the mold? Yes. And so I can teach a person which questions to ask for their body and read their body so that they can survive. Because when you have a chronic ailment, you're walking a knife edge. So this is strong for yes. This is weak for no. Strong for yes, weak for no. And this is on YouTube, you know, and people can go and practice. And there's about 20 different ways to do this.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize.
Go ahead.
I'm just surprised. I'm reacting. I didn't realize they had YouTube videos that would teach you how to do it.
And so I send people there all the time, because if they can learn this, it's the difference between solving their chronic ailment or not. You know,
that's a big difference. Yeah,
and you can lead your life. Now, right now I have multiple chemical sensitivity, and I have a problem with mold. So between those two, I cannot eat a lot of foods. I have about 18 foods on my list right now, which is better than 4, and I've been down to 4. But I'm able to walk, which I wasn't always able to do. The biofeedback got me out of a wheelchair. I was in a wheelchair for years with this chronic ailment, where my body was storing toxins that I couldn't handle in my connective tissue. My connective tissue would tear, and I couldn't walk. So it was really nice to be able to get a handle on what was affecting me, how to decide about it moment to moment, and those choices to make. And it's what I teach in my office. The people who come in, and I had somebody come in the other day with 5 bags of supplements, and they had gone to 5 different people, and they said, these supplements will cure you. And out of the 5 bags of supplements, we found 2 bottles that were useful to the people. All the rest were going to irritate their system. So rather than just do a one-size-fits-all, this gives you an intimate way to reach in and see what's going on, and then, you know, try to turn it around. For example, with the sound healing, a nice way to turn it around, you rebalance the body to its original vibration. You bring the person back to the vibration they had the moment they were born. and you're bringing kind of a homeostasis back to the body where it's able to deal with these crises a little better.
That's another subject that I'm really curious about, is sound healing. When I first heard the term sound healing, I thought, I'd be listening to some tones and in headsets or something like that, to bring about a new vibrational pattern, like that, a new vibrational pattern coming in. So with sound healing, now I understand you use tuning forks.
It has a long tradition. I use the tuning forks, but if we go back in time, we had Peruvian whistling pots, and these Peruvian whistling pots were used by shaman. Or we also could go back to the Tibetan bowls, and people were using those bowls to attune people and bring them back to their natural sound. People do sound baths to, bring sound to people. I like the tuning forks. There's the hands-on forks where I can work the acupuncture points on people's bodies and let go of the energy they're holding in there and balance them out. And then it leaves them in a nice, calm state where I can help them psychologically address issues like, say, with eating, where your comfort eating habits came from, at what age did you develop this, how you can possibly change this. And in a calmer state, instead of just running into defensive walls, a person is more receptive to hearing what I have to say.
So the tuning with the tuning forks is kind of like moving the energy into a more receptive balance.
It's not unlike with acupuncture. You're unblocking the energy to move it, and then you're tuning up the energy. Let's say their liver is bothering them. I can work the liver and tune up the energy in that area to help balance that liver so it can heal itself.
Do you have a tuning fork with you right now?
I can grab one in like 30 seconds. You want?
I have.
Here it goes. Dan brought a tuning fork. So this is a weighted tuning fork, and you see the two discs on the end. And this enables the tuning fork that after you strike it, you're able to put the handle end onto somebody's body.
So you would put the hand.
Yeah. And then this will change the flow of the energy for Stan. And the nice thing about the forks is you're looking for a nice deep vibration. And if I don't hit that acupuncture point perfectly, I can just move it a little bit until I get the correct vibration. And it'll show me by the vibration exactly what I want to hit.
Okay. And so you said this is a hands-on, kind of more of a hands-on approach, because you're actually putting the vibrations onto people's parts of their body. I imagine it takes a while to learn how to do that kind of hands-on, or that kind of healing or energy changing.
I do classes in the forks, and each person varies. If they have a good intuitive sense, they almost know where to put it. And that's what I feel when I'm working on people. Their body tells me where to put that fork and where to put it next and where to put it after that. So with the hands-on forks, the body tells you exactly what to do. With the hands-off forks, you can reprogram the entire biofield around the person, so that if I stood about 12 to 14 feet away from you right now, I could hear the sound of your birth, and I could pick up the history of trauma that we all carry around us, which to me is interesting because we're carrying our entire history around us, but it sings in a beautiful, harmonious fashion. But when I hit trauma, and birth often has a little trauma with it, the fork doesn't sing in its normal tune. It sings out of tune and lets me know that there's trauma in that area. And then I can reprogram that trauma away from the person. And this is with the non-weighted fork. So just like Stan has there, except without the little disc on the end. And when I strike that and I come in to a certain distance, I can read the history. So if Stan had trouble with a bully in 8th grade, it's in there. I can not only read that history, but reprogram your aura to take that back out. And then
how did you know I had trouble with a bully in the 8th grade?
You know, I read these auras so often that the ones that come up are, you know, often in those years. And it would be junior high, high school, and it's bullies or boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever. There's trauma.
So that was a good guess.
Was just an intuitive shot, Stan. Yeah, I
intuitive shot. I like that. Okay. So, you know, so people can learn to do some of this on their own. And of course I think it's much better that they learn from somebody who has the skills and the ability to teach. And I know that you have lessons and that you teach people. And so
yeah.
what is the name of do you have a company or a program or a agency, something like that?
I call it Larsen Wellness, just simple, straightforward. And I do the classes individually or in groups, sometimes at the office, sometimes at organizations. And it's really a nice way to get people in touch with what's going on with themselves and be able to read what's showing up. You know, people are surprised that the trauma of moving out from mom and dad's house is still carried around them 40 years later.
Right. And so one of the things that I just thought of as you either intuitively hit on my 8th grade bullying trauma that may still be vibrating in there. This can work at a distance. Can you do the intuitive part at a distance?
Can I? Well, I can read you at a distance using the applied kinesiology, or if you said, oh, I want a complete evaluation of how I'm doing, I would have you save hair from your haircut, send it to me, and then I can put that on my biofeedback device. When I have that in the same room with the biofeedback device, then I can read you from that hair in that same room at the same time the machine is reading you. So that's really a nice way to do a long distance one. But I do people over the phone. I do strangers in trouble, try to get them on a good track, and people I'll never meet, people I'll never you know, talk to again. I try to just get them on a good track, get them going so that they have a better life. They have a idea of what's going on.
Well, I'm glad to know that because I know you live in the Antelope Valley, and that's where you're stationed. So I just wanted to make sure that if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, they would know how to reach you, and that they could reach you from anywhere by the phone.
Yes. So by the phone, I read over the phone, or what I prefer to do is have somebody send, like for men, it's really easy. You send the shavings out of your electric razor, you know, or your toenail clippings, just something that carries that person's DNA, and that'll carry all of this information. And but it's out there before the person arrives, before I know their name. I just know that a person is coming. That information is out there, and I can actually get a read on that person before they arrive. Not nearly as accurate as when they do, because sometimes I'm right when they come, and sometimes I'm wrong. You know?
That's how it goes. You look for the feedback. So by way of concluding here, is there any one last thing you would like to say, let's say to the audience that is in the Antelope Valley, that would kind of, you would like to give them a message about what you do in a nutshell?
I would say, look up Larsen Wellness on larsen-wellness.com. dot. I have to look at my own website name to give it to him, Stan.
Larsen, L-A-R-S-E-N.
www.larsen, L-A-R-S-E-N, -wellness.com. Take a look there. Look at my information. You can look at me on Yelp. People have, posted about what I do there. It's really something that is hard to describe, and so I often, just go places and do hands-on readings. I read some guy the other day, and he's like, well, that was right, but I don't know if I trust this guy. So he called his friend over. I read the friend, and I read the friend right, and then he's like, okay, I'm going to come and see you. So people want to kind of test me to make sure I know what I'm doing.
Right.
And if I can touch the person, I can really read what's going on, and I usually help them get going in a better direction.
Okay, well, that sounds wonderful. I know we want to kind of bring this conversation to close. I saw Myrna poke her head in there. Did you have any questions, Myrna?
Actually, yes. I wanted to ask Glenn if what he does is something for an ailment, only the physical ailment, or do people look for you in regards to heal emotional ailment?
Emotional ailments I can do. I can't replace psych meds for a severely mentally ill person, but instead of having them double their meds, I can come up with aromatherapy oils that will give them a little boost so that they don't up their medication and they can keep on a more stable medication. Other thing I try to do is teach them how to release emotions and bring in calming emotions.
Okay. Yeah, that was my question. Anything else that you wanted to add, Stan?
Well, I'm good. I want to thank you, Glenn, for coming on. You've really given me a lot of interesting information. I thought I knew about this stuff a little bit, but every time I listen to you talk, I learn something new. So thank you very much for spending this time with us. And I probably will be coming to learn more from you soon.
All right. And I'll tell you about, some standard classes I have too, so that, you could do a group class if you want.
Okay. Thank you so much, Glenn.
Thank you.
And
thank you guys for sharing this conversation with us, with the Mindalia TV audience. We're truly thankful for the wisdom and for the time shared with us today. To our audience, of course, thank you again for tuning us, for being with us as every day. And we remind you that you can collaborate with us, sharing information that can help raise the level of consciousness around the world by subscribing to our channel, leaving us a positive comment down this video, or sharing it with someone that you know that is going to benefit of the content that we talked here today. Guys, once again, thank you for sharing with us. And until next time.
thank you.
Thank you very much.